So a couple weeks ago, I posted a video about my shock and dismay about Google Reader shutting down this summer. And essentially my issue was that it's how I see the web and how I've seen the web for a very long time. It's one of those tabs that I have open next to Gmail all the time. And I don't go to blogs sites, blogs index pages to see what's going on. I really do read things through a feed reader. Now, of course, there are other feed readers out there, but I really got attached to Google Reader. I had been using it for years. There's a lot of data stored up in there. And some of you, thank you very much for the comments, had suggested that I check out Feedly. And I heard a lot of mixed reviews about Feedly. Now, I've been using it for the past couple days, and I want to share some impressions that I have about it. Now, first of all, the design. It's definitely got a fresher design than does Google Reader. Google Reader was definitely looking a bit stagnant. And Feedly's design is much more fresh. It looks a little bit more up to date. But the design also has a drawback in that not a lot fits in. The width of the column, the main column where you're reading articles, at least in the setup that I prefer, is still a little too narrow. And it means that I'll read an article and I don't see what's coming up next. I also can get confused the way it changes the view of the article you're looking at, where it'll be like a mini summary, and then when you hit next, and it's like blows it up, and the next mini summary I sometimes confuse as being part of that article. So that's a bit of a confusion that I had, and I really want this to be as close to my Google Reader experience as possible. I run into a few bugs also, and I think they're bugs with Feedly, and I'm not totally sure. One of them is that I notice that I'll be hitting next, and then I'll find myself in kind of a loop, or I'll get this sort of like Feedly deja vu where like 6 articles I just read are now coming up through again. And I'm not sure if maybe I have it set so that I'm not seeing only unread articles, or maybe it's not marking articles as read properly. I'm not sure what's going on there. Sometimes I click to see in a different view and I'm seeing older articles, and I rather just see things I haven't read and just have that be it across the board. And I'm not sure if this is just the way I'm seeing things and I have it set up incorrectly, or if it's really just some sort of weird fluke in the system. I know Feedly sits on top of Google Reader. I presume it's transferring my subscriptions over at some point to Feedly's own servers, but we'll see. One of the things that I really do like about Feedly is that my keyboard commands are exactly the same as they were with Google Reader. J for the next article, K for the previous article, S to save. I basically sit here and look at the web by going J, J, J. I'll read an article. Maybe I'll open it and read it, or I'll usually just hit S to save it later. That is fantastic. The fact that the design is so different doesn't bother me as much as when the buttons I'm hitting are exactly the same. Another thing I like about Feedly is that it has integration. It's better integrated with outside services. So Buffer, which I use, is a great service which I use to basically, when I wake up in the morning, let's say between 6 and 8 a.m., I'll want to share 10 stories, but I don't want to share all 10 stories at once, so I put them into Buffer, and it kind of spaces them out over Twitter. It shares them on Twitter over the space of maybe a few hours, so it's not all like blasted with sharing. So I like that, except for one thing. Feedly uses their own link shortener, which interferes, I think, with all the other link shorteners that I'm using. So you share something to Twitter, there's the t.co link shortener. Buffer uses the bit.ly link shortener, and then all of a sudden there's the Feedly link shortener. And the web really shouldn't work that way. We shouldn't be going through 3 different link shorteners to get to the link that you really want to share. That makes no sense at all. So I would love to be able to see Feedly turn off that link shortener so that ultimately what shows up is the real link in Twitter. Or even if it's just bit.ly, people tend to trust bit.ly a little better. So if you're using Feedly, I'd love to hear what you think about it. I just installed the iOS app this morning. The design looks great, but as I said in my Google Reader video, I don't really browse feeds on my phone. I really want to be at my computer when I do it. But the app does look very, very good. So I want to hear what you think about Feedly if you've been using it, or if there's something else out there. I hear Dig's got one too. Leave a comment. Send a tweet. I love it when you people share my videos on Twitter. I appreciate that so much. My Twitter is @MattRichardson, and please give it a share, give it a thumbs up, and a comment. I'll have another video for you tomorrow. Bye.